Good evening, Free Enterprise community, fans, friends, whoever we have watching today, newcomers. Tonight is time for the second half of our doubleheader today between Gaming with a Wraith and plumeriaknight. I am Ent, and joining me today on the Restream team are Restreamer Dathis, our tracker Scythe Marshall, and my co-commentator tonight, Couch23. How you doing tonight, Couch?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Doing pretty good. Excited to see this race tonight. Just got done, obviously, with that race before, which was very, very good. If any of you were not tuned in for that one, definitely go back and watch that one through the YouTube channel later. And, you know, this tournament has offered some really, really interesting races so far, so I'm always excited to be here for these.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There have been so many fantastic races already.
And tonight, we can see that we're starting with a Sid start, as well as the two boss hunts of Defeat Golbez and Defeat Officer, as well as the usual required objectives with this flag set of Complete Cave Magnus, have Coco Forge Legend Sword with Adamant, and trade away the Pink Tail. What do you think when you see these, see the start and you see those two boss hunts with this flag set?
I think I check everything as fast as possible right away. I don't, especially with Sid, I see what weapon I have. I mean, I've also got a Dwarf Axe I can throw on him. I go try and take out that Mist Dragon spot, and I go take a peek at the Octo spot, and then I start my looting, just in case. Sid's got a ton of HP, and he's pretty strong.
Yeah, definitely one of the better characters to start with, just if not just for that durability alone, because, you know, if you run into something fairly difficult a little ways in, it might be a bit slow, but they're probably not going to be able to take him down.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing I would do, it depends really on the starting item. Like, if I get a Magma Key right away, you can bet I'm going right down to Feymark and seeing if one of those two bosses are there.
Yeah, and that would be interesting to me because I have not seen throughout this tournament any particularly fast, like, jet seeds like that. So anything that would start with, you know, like a magma key or a darkness crystal would be exciting to me here. I know everyone probably wants to see more racing, but sometimes it's interesting to see just how fast our players can push it.
Absolutely agreed. I mean, in my practice seeds, I think the fastest I've had is like a 117, and it just felt extremely jetty. But we'll see what happens here. This could go really any one of two directions. Imagine Golbez and Officer being in the Giant.
You know, I've joked about wanting to see that the entire tournament and every race that I've watched, and I'm not sure if I actually want that, as we are actually getting underway here. And we're about to see what that second character and first key item is, and it looks like they're going to get a Tella.
Ooh. That's not a bad start. Not bad at all.
Yeah, a very, very interesting start whenever you get that pan. Obviously, sort of lowers the value of taking that Fabul check early on as well, because you want to try and bundle that together. Other than that, I mean, it doesn't really affect too much about how you're going to go about this seed.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, like with this kind of start, I'm definitely checking those boss locations ASAP once I do my quick equipment adjustments, and then I'm gonna go start looting a little bit. But that's just how I play. I know everybody plays a little bit different. Some people prefer doing item checks and getting things checked out of the way, and looks like we're getting some item checks right away.
Yeah, throughout this tournament, this Baron in spot is, I've seen a lot of people starting that pretty early on with that Palom and Odin start. That not entirely sure you want to go for that right away.
Wouldn't be too terrible. It all just depends on what that next boss is. That next boss is the real toughie.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where you hope that it's going to be something easy, but what interests me is that Baron Castle start check, where it could be Rubicant or it could be Elements. Which one that ends up being could play a pretty big factor later on if they happen to find the wrong boss at the wrong spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so far, we're just seeing the usual early looting, not too much interesting going on. Gaming with a Wraith about to go check this Damsian treasury as well as, well, or at very least just raise the hovercraft.
Yeah, I've found that in most seeds, it's beneficial just to raise the hovercraft right away, especially since Pinktail is one of the objectives. So, I mean, if you find that hook in the Pinktail quick, you kind of don't forget about, oh, do I have my hovercraft up or not? It's kind of like, oh, hey, I have my hovercraft, I can just go grab it really quick and be ready to go.
Yep, and we're about to see plumeriaknight check this Mist Dragon spot, like you mentioned. Checking these early boss spots going to come in very, very handy. Also about to see what is down here in the Damsian basement. Nothing particularly interesting so far. And a plague at the Mist Cave.
That's actually not too bad. Might be a good idea to keep in mind in case you run into like an Eddy somewhere and you want to grab a few levels on Eddy and you happen to stumble across the spoon, just in case to get that experience relatively quickly. But usually you won't be coming back there.
Yeah, I've also seen a number of people saving that sort of thing for if they get an early darkness crystal and they happen to get like a Fusoya on the moon, going back and getting those spells onto them early.
Yeah, definitely.
We're about to see what is up Mount Hobbs once Gaming with a Wraith is done doing this equipping.
Plumeria finding a poison axe in the shrubbery in Mist, and poison axe is definitely one of the stronger axes in the game.
That appears to be another Tella with the officers and soldiers. Or, sorry, a Young.
That's an objective right there, so that's pretty spicy. And it also opens up the backside of Hobbs, which can have some pretty solid gear back there.
Yeah, definitely. And, Yang is not the worst thing to have on your team if this seed goes long, like some of the seeds I've seen in this tournament so far. Obviously, scales much, much harder with levels than anything else, so this is going to be quite a while. Maria, however, does find the Ogopogo in the waterfall.
Alright. Pretty excited to see what's on this backside of Hobbs. I always like looting back here because you got, especially when you have Tella, it's a nice quick check for chests that are relatively close to each other, and an exit cast gets you right out. I found some pretty solid stuff back here.
Yeah, and you have to be feeling good too about knowing that one of those boss hunts is out of the way basically immediately before the 5-minute mark, and you're not going to be spending your seed chasing that down. You know that the giant, for example, is not required by the seed at this point, so that's a probably good feeling.
Oh, absolutely. It's always good to know that, hey, I don't have to go somewhere ridiculously long.
Yeah.
Runak. That's another good pickup for Sid there.
Honestly, this has been pretty good for the Sid so far. Just the Rune Axe, Poison Axe, has got quite a bit of different flexibility with those various weaknesses.
Yeah, this Sid's going to be pretty strong pretty quick. Whether it's the Poison Axe or the Rune Axe equipped. And coming back row glitch, you don't have to worry about tossing on that Dwarf Axe. And the fantastic thing about Sid is, we can keep him the whole game and level him up as much as we want, and it doesn't take too much stuff to drop him back down to anchor agility.
Yeah, it's definitely something good to just have out of the way too. You don't have to stress about later. It's just, I can pop this on here, this will be taken care of. I know that agility anchoring has been some problems for some other racers in a few of these races I've watched so far, so definitely good to take that off the table early.
So Maria missing out on that Stardust Rod. Stardust Rod I found to be extremely overpowered in the beginning of this game, especially if you can have somebody that can use it. You just drop it as an item, and it'll take out pretty much any early boss.
And speaking of early bosses, how do you feel about a Bahamut at the bottom of Antlion? I feel like you probably would want to see a bit more difficult of a boss here.
Yeah, I was gonna say it makes me pretty sad to see Bahamut here. And another required item right away. Dang. The adamant drop from this fight is pretty good. But yeah, seeing free, well, quote unquote free bosses this early is kind of frustrating because you're always like, well, they could have been somewhere else later. But there's also a pretty giant pool of free bosses that, well, quote unquote free bosses that you can take on.
Yeah, and especially with, you know, at least on Wraith's side, he knows he already has that officer. Plumeria is about to find that out for himself. Has that adamant, that's half of another objective already out of the way. I would imagine it doesn't feel quite as bad seeing those easier bosses early if you think that there might be a chance that this could be a fairly quick affair.
Wraith is going to make a short stop, grab the few items that are here in Silvera, and then maybe check out the item shop. I've kind of started straying away from this place. It can have some stuff, but 3 items and an item shop just kind of really don't make it too attractive. Although Silkweb, Store Rages, and Kamikazes are fantastic finds.
Yep, gonna have to sell a few things, obviously, to get those silk webs, but pretty good shop to find here. Definitely will take care of a lot of stuff later on down the line. I don't think I've seen anyone yet go to these shops in Silvera before getting Pink Tail or Rat Tail. I've seen a lot of people dive in there early, so definitely going to pay off for him there.
I do like the going right to Ordeal's play, especially having the pan fading Fabul just a little bit could be beneficial. Fabul could be blocking our underground access, who knows? But oh, there's another Stardust Rod, oh my goodness. That's pretty good. If we run across the Palom in Baron that we can go get, that Palom will be pretty stacked early on.
Yep, he's definitely already online, and also if you happen to find either another Palom or Iridia somewhere, that could be another great way of pushing yourself forward. It looks like Plumeria, however, is not going to fade Fabul, so we'll see this first bit of divergence here and see where it leads.
I kind of like the Fabul play at this point, especially with Adamant at Antlion. I'd probably be making the Fabul play as well, even though I do have the pan. It's a pretty quick fight, and it's not too bad to do.
Speaking of free bosses and locations you don't necessarily want to see them, how about a King and Queen Eblin at the Mylon and Friends spot?
Not the greatest. I'm just gonna sit there pretty much. It's a pretty slow place overall, and it seems like we're just getting all the free bosses out of the way right now, so yeah.
Well, with all these free bosses that are going to be out of the way, that means one of two things later. Either we get every piece we need to get these objectives done quickly, and this ends up being the true Jet Seed, or things could get very rough about an hour from now.
I like that Chain Rod play on the Dark Imps. I like seeing the piggy sprites. They're always, like, adorable.
Definitely pro pig. Meanwhile, Wraith through that King and Queen Eblin fight. I'm going to go back and save before we see what is on the other side of the bridge here.
Plumeria missing out on that Stardust Rod unfortunately makes this fight a lot longer. They would have just tossed a Stardust Rod right away and had the fight moved down pretty much.
And an Antlion on the other side of the bridge in Mount Ordeals.
Antlion is actually my favorite boss sprite from this game. Just that face. Look at it. It's so happy.
I absolutely 100% agree. He's just very pleased to be here. always thrilled, always giving 100% no matter what boss spot he ends up in.
Well, so after you've seen this boss on Ordeals, or these bosses, depending on the item we get, what do you feel your next play is going to be? Are you going to go for Bull, or are you going to go Baron in?
You know, I'm not necessarily the most experienced in this flag set. I've only run a couple of seeds in it, but I think at this point in time where I'd found those Stardust rods, I would be thrilled to get that Palom in my party as soon as I can.
I'm with you on that one. And I actually happened to miss the item over at Fabul. Doesn't seem like it was a key item. Nothing new is lit up.
Yeah, I looked away from that for a moment myself. Apparently an Avenger, thanks to our tracker Scythe Marshal.
An Avenger gives you false hope sometimes. Meaning we may not even see a Cecil or a Kayn.
It's the item that makes you really, really want a character in this randomizer, and I enjoy when that happens, but also hate when it happens to me when I'm running a seed, because it, for some reason, never seems to actually pan out.
Speaking of pans, I have a feeling we're going to see Wraith take a dive down to the underworld after this. Getting that magma is gonna push towards the pool, and a feeling that's what we're gonna see.
Yep. Sometimes that fading for bull play does pay off, other times it doesn't, but this is definitely one of the ones where it does. That D-Lunar fight not going to pose any particular problem here, and he'll be able to go right underground, do that for bull gauntlet, even though we know it's just an Avenger. Well, just an Avenger, but
yeah.
He'll be in good shape to really hit the ground running, because who knows what that pan chain's going to open up. Who knows what could be down in that chest in Feymarch. Who knows if there's just, you know, a water hag sitting down at one of those king-queen spots, you know, you can take out really easily.
I really like how fast we're kind of progressing through the seed. We've gotten a lot of checks covered on both ends, and it's kind of opened it up to us, showing us, hey, well, we know we have underground access. And we know we've got quite a few checks we have available to us. I'm pretty excited to see what bosses are in Feymarch, to be honest. I'd like to see some really quick ones.
Especially where we know that a lot of these easier ones are out of the way, you know. Anytime when you get Dark Imps, you get King and Queen, you get all that, that's just one more chance of you seeing, you know, Kaynotso at the wrong spot at the bottom of Feymarch.
Going right to Baron. I don't mind this play, to be honest. Getting another character before heading underground, because if you find, you know, Sirens and Coffins, or just even Sirens, you can pop a few levels on Palom, get Quake, and then kind of make the rest of the early seed easy breezy.
It's also worth finding out what that second boss is, because if that Golbez is hiding here, first of all, that could be a little bit scary, but secondly, you know where he is, you know where that second objective is, you're really, really hitting the ground running, because you just need 2 out of 3 key items, and you're pretty much done. Well,
yeah,
and the hook as well.
Moon boss. Wyvern. Be Wyvern. No.
Well, the good news is we do know that the next moon boss that we see will be Wyvern.
This is true. This is true. We've found pretty much all of them. And like I was saying, that Stardust Rod is just making huge chunks of work taken out of these bosses. Out damaging pretty much everybody here.
Yep, and I believe he has its second one as well, so soon he'll be able to double that up, and that will be really hitting the ground running.
Oh yeah, definitely. Said I'm pretty excited to see what bosses are where and how this is all going to play out.
So we're about to see what the key item is hiding here at Baron as well.
I really enjoy the Luca key checks on this, so I personally like checking Luca key right away. It's a nice quick check. I can see what boss is there, and I can kind of like prep for it. Or I can just completely write it off and not worry about it a second later.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of fading the Luca key check lately, and it's always seemed to me like, especially as long as you have someone with work to help getting back out of there quickly enough, like it's definitely worth doing pretty early on. So we are going to see Wraith open that underground now.
Yeah. I always wondered how. I know it's like a rock in the J version, but I never understood how throwing a key down a well blows up a mountain.
I really appreciate that too, because you have to imagine that you have to have really, really good aim to hit the keyhole at the bottom of the well, unless it's just a really giant key that happens to be like the width of the well itself. It's what we need for like an April Fool's Day flag is like a skill check. Can you line up the magma key with the bottom of the well when you're opening your underground access? And that might make Hook Route look a little bit more appealing.
Find some illusions in Agart. Illusions are always pretty good to have, especially if you don't have a white mage on hand and you run into a very strong physical boss. Illusion causes blink and the curse ring. Curse ring 3. So. Agart's pretty stacked right here.
Yeah, good progress and good shops so far for our runners, which, you gotta be really, really happy to see, but you also gotta be fearing, okay, what's the catch?
Yeah, pretty much. I believe Wraith is probably just gonna check the item shops here, looking for sirens or coffins or whatever, maybe the armor and weapon shops as well. Do some looting possibly. But this is usually my route when I go underground is I check Dwarf Castle, then Tomra, then I go Feymark, and then work my way around depending on my key items. Not very good stuff in the shops here.
No, it's really deeply unfortunate in this case. It looks like he is going to do the looting up in the towers here in Dwarf Castle, though, which I haven't seen in a while.
Got some overall okay stuff, some Dragoon stuff. About the only thing I saw that was... Oh, I guess the ninja cap's alright.
So we are going to see Plumeria head straight underground without doing that Baronin check, so I would imagine he might go for a bit more of just the free checks and then get out and then possibly go back to Baron after he's checking Pan.
Yeah, I think that's what my play would be, to be honest. Just go right underground, get that Pan and the Feymark check knocked out of the way, check shops where I need to, and then kind of go from there. Finding Bacchus finds at the Dwarf Castle is pretty nice. It's a good place to remember, especially if you're going to run into some Berserkers later on down the road. Currently only really have one choice of Berserker and really not super usable as a Berserker right now.
Saw agricultural crop and manager, but I missed the word in between. Now, the real problem that Wraith must be feeling right now is he bought that Berserk ring, or that cursed ring in Agart, goes, loots Dwarf Castle, immediately finds a free cursed ring.
Isn't that always how it works, though?
Absolutely.
Hey, I should buy this. I haven't found one yet. And then you immediately find one. And then you're like, well, there goes all my money.
Yeah, and especially with these flags, with the items only selling for a quarter of their value, it's going to feel even worse when we get to the bracket flags with the sales there.
I actually really like this flag. It kind of makes you think about, hey, what should I be doing shopping wise? Like, it gives you actually like something to think about while you're shopping instead of just blindly selling stuff and buying stuff.
And I've also been enjoying it for both that reason, but also because I've seen a lot of different strategies around looting with that flag on. I feel like it sort of sorts out into two different schools of thought. The I don't need to loot quite as much because the chances of me landing on something I really, really want is going to be not great. And then I've seen the I need to loot everything because I need to get that income.
Yeah, definitely. Dr. Luga here is pretty terrifying, to be honest. This physical spot can be pretty high, and we don't have a super strong defensive-wise set team. So I'm curious to see how this one's going to play out.
And I feel even... Well, I guess you just have that Stardust Rod for Tell at this point. The offensive side is not necessarily great for this point, for this spot either, where you have that Yang who doesn't quite have the levels yet to really start doing a ton of damage. You have the Sid who's going to do some work, the Tell who's going to do some work, but that's it. And if one of those goes down, it's going to be hard to get him back up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've been finding quite a lot of gear for people that we can't actually use. So I'm curious to see what other characters we're going to find. Ooh, there's a hook.
Well, now Wraith is really at that just find the key item spot, because each one of those first 3 objectives, he only needs the 1 key item to actually be able to complete.
I'm going to take a stab here and say Mom Bomb is at Leviathan and Ashura is Vanilla. That was close. Dark Knight Cecil's pretty scary there.
Queen Leviathan does not necessarily seem like the worst thing to find, though.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. But I'm not quite sure they're even really too doable at this point. Maybe if you throw up a Star Veil or something on Yang, guess? I don't know. This is probably one Fey mark that I'd put off until later.
Yeah, especially where you know that Golbez could be anywhere where you could find those other objectives. I don't really see too much of a reason to go for this that early on.
Good old Pain Man showing why he's called Pain Man.
Yeah, I'm interested in why he went for that, but I think that he might have just been trying to see, okay, this is how much damage this is going to do. This is the HP threshold I need to meet in order to come back and do that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm super unfamiliar with what Cecil does in certain areas, and sometimes I'll just check and be like, I guess I can survive this, and other times it's like, yeah, no way. I'm not even going to try.
Well, we are about to see what this second boss at Dwarf Castle is now that Dr. Luggage has packed his bags for the day.
Wow. Wow. What a seed Dathis has rolled today.
Vanilla Golbez with a Fusoya added to your party is a pretty good prize here, but not so much if ends up taking down that Sid and you can't quite get him down.
It looks like we're getting an X-Cal for Smack and Yang. That's not too bad. Be useful if we find a Cecil or if we find an Edge. Excalibur is the strongest weapon that you can throw, and it does a hefty amount of damage.
What I'm interested in seeing at this point on Plumeria's side is what spells does that Fusoya have at the moment?
Sure, we'll find out very soon. I like this play by Wraith as well. Gonna go grab another character. It could be that Cecil, and that Avenger and X-Cal would just be fantastic. Having Tella to cast Exit right away, and we're gonna be good here.
Not to mention the other chance to find Sirens somewhere too, which would be really good to know.
Absolutely. This seems like a good point to ditch some of the equipment that we got laying around. Definitely do some equipping where we can, and just kind of empty the inventory. There's a lot of nonsense in there that we can definitely get rid of at this point.
And that is one thing I've noticed too with this Sineki flag that we have now, where you start out with pretty much nothing on your characters. It does lead to a lot of like little incremental jumps up I've noticed where people don't necessarily want to equip their characters right away. They don't necessarily want to get rid of something because what if it's the best thing I can find?
Yeah. I have a problem when it comes to selling stuff. I just clear out my inventory and call it a day. I keep the big name stuff. You know, I'm not going to get rid of an Excal or an Avenger. Finding life potions and coffins is pretty great. But yeah, like inventory-wise, I see a shop, I see something that I like, I'm just selling pretty much everything. I can deal without too much equipment as long as I have a decent weapon set or decent stat boosting gear is really all I care about.
Yep, and speaking of things to care about at this point, Plumerian now through that Golbez fight, so it does have that second objective. We're about to see what Luke is going to give, but just knowing that ahead is probably a pretty good immediate advantage, and it looks like we're going to have Demist up in the hook route.
Do you chase this Demist?
I do not know, honestly, with only needing one key item for other things with that Luca key still on the table. I might actually go for that Luca key first.
That's looking at my crew. If I had the party that Plumeria does, I would absolutely go after Demist. But with this current setup, I think Wraith is making a good play leaving, but make sure to make mental notes so you don't forget where that Demist is at. That could come in very important later.
Yeah, and in his case too, he still has that Dwarf Castle check to finish. I don't think he's finished the Fabul check. Going to go back to that now. There's too many other options to really go chasing that Demist at this point, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely on board with that. This is looking to be a very fast seed. just by judging what we've gotten so far, it's shown some promise.
Still waiting for that other shoe to land on that because there's got to be a catch somewhere.
I mean, doesn't necessarily have to be, but I don't know. Like I was saying, like at the beginning, I really enjoy watching how people execute jet scenes. Like, hey, you have all this laid out in front of you. What do you do? And like you can just see how people handle it differently, and it's really interesting to see.
Yeah, and it's a real test of skill too, because sometimes your routing is more important in a longer seed, because if you go somewhere that the other person doesn't go for, then you end up being behind if that doesn't pay off. In a jet seed where you're really getting funneled down that one path, it's really just going to come down to who's the better player, and sometimes even who gets a little bit better luck along the way.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty excited to see what this pan is going to deliver us. I think a spoon would be pretty exciting to see, especially for Wraith. Getting a spoon Eddie online would just be ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options here, because I feel like the chances of this being something that gives you a bit of progress is really going up now, because there's not a lot of options left. There's not necessarily few, but at some point in time, we're going to see just that Darkness Crystal drop and the whole thing break wide open. Zeus Gauntlet, not the worst thing in the world to find.
Definitely a pretty solid item to grab. And there's our music. It's another objective out of the way.
Yep, and I have to imagine that he'll probably head straight for that as well, because if that ends up being that Legend Sword, or if it ends up being the Pink Tail, I could see him very easily going for the Dwarf Castle check shortly afterwards, and from there, all he really needs to do is find a pass or a Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, absolutely. This is pretty exciting. I like how they've kind of strayed apart from each other routing wise. But at some point, I have a feeling we're going to converge back on each other, and it's going to be really close.
And that does actually open up a very interesting question to me, where you don't have sirens available to you. You don't know if you're even going to find a darkness crystal before you have all those objectives ready. What do you do for levels, or do you just try and go for the 1200 HP strats, which I don't think they've found the pieces to execute yet?
I mean, at this point, you've got a Luca key. We're pushing 6 key items. We're going to be pushing 10 by the time we hit go mode. Luca key, sealed, and trapdoors. That would be my go-to.
Yeah, that was my guess on it, but I wanted to double check, obviously, in case there was some fancy new grind I hadn't heard of yet.
I mean, that would be my play. I'm sure other people would have their certain plays, but that's what I would take.
Plumeria, on the other hand, is going all out to try and break down this Leviathan early on.
I like this play. This could definitely open up the seed in Plumeria's direction, I want to say. Pinktail would be fantastic. That just means they would need to go turn in that pan, and that would be go mode. Or almost go mode. We still need a moon access, but that would be a crystal mode there.
And we never quite know what we're going to find at the bottom of this wonderful cave magnus, but we do know that we're about to experience one of the many great randomized things about this randomizer, which is the heart tune that plays here as to help the party along is also completely random, selected from one of 242 tracks as last I knew, and we're about to see what those are right about now.
I think we'll hush hush while once we find out what this key item is, and then we'll hush hush. I'm pretty interested to see what's here. Oh, just a defense sword. Not to interrupt the music, but Plumeriaknight getting through that Dark Knight Sea Soul is just, that was fantastic to watch. I'm interested to see what's going to pop up here.
I am speechless because I would not have thought of that. Oh, and a Mazamune at the bottom of the music spot is not what you want to see.
Not bad. Spoon might be worth that. Go get that Eddie from that hook. Oh man, got a good Zerker right there.
And I also think just the knowledge, too, at this point might be even more valuable than that, because Wraith has to be thinking at some point in time, I probably want to go back and do that Leviathan, that Dark Knight Cecil. Plumeria has already gotten those done, knows he doesn't need to go back, and presumably will be finishing up this pan sequence at some point as well, but it looks like he might actually be going for Keyless Tower.
I mean, you got the food, you got the team to do it. You may as well, right?
I'm just trying to figure out what the gamble is here specifically. Could just be thinking, you know, maybe I'll take a few big risks here and hope they pay off, because so far they kind of have, you know, going for all these different fight checks instead of all the freebie checking has actually probably helped him.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting. I'm not a big fan of Keyless Tower. It can hold something that's super important. It could hold something that would put Plumeria in go. It could hold the Darkest Crystal. That would be huge. We'll see what it ends up being, because we know where 3 of the 5 objectives are already, and we're basically 2 key items away from go mode. We've got the hook, which is available for Pinktail. So all we need is Adamant, or we need the Legend Sword and Moon Access, or a Pinktail and Moon Access. Then that's pretty much go mode for open go mode for whoever finds it first.
Yeah, and I think I might actually be trying to... I might have actually hit mentally on where Plumeria is right now. I think he might just be looking for that Moon Access as quickly as possible, because nothing matters until you have that Moon Access anyways, and might just be thinking, okay, this is an underground check. I know the other stuff is technically gated behind the underground, but at some point in time, I'm going to find that Moon check, and maybe even getting that Moon character might be a very, very good thing as well.
And this is actually really good. Plumeria doesn't even have to go the hook route to know that, hey, a Demist is at the Ruby spot. That's another key item that Plumeria can go, oh, hey, I can go here. And that could lead Plumeria to Edward with that spoon, too.
Yeah, I'm not sure at this point if he's going to go for it. I imagine he'll at very least go down the hook route for a character at some point in time soon. Still just sitting on that party of 4 right now. It does find the Mylon Z fight, which not a very intimidating one. It is indeed the demisted hook, so could see some shenanigans later on down the line.
I don't think Demist at that spot's going to be too bad, depending on where or what boss is at the King Queen spot. But having a crew that's basically about 3 bosses away from being full power is going to make it pretty easy, to be honest.
Yeah, although there are still some pretty rude bosses that we haven't seen yet at that could be at that King and Queen spot, which there might be a certain point where no amount of charged up food can really prepare you for something like that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of rude bosses that can be there. That spot hits really hard.
I think what's also interesting to me at this point is if this tower key play pays off, I don't think, based off of how Wraith has been routing, which is this really safe, you know, sort of play the percentages, do the fast checks, free checks first, then go back for other stuff plan, I don't see him going for that tower key anytime, or that keyless tower anytime soon.
Yeah, definitely, that's a good point as well. Keyless Tower can definitely make or break a race sometimes, and I tend to put it off until I can get a tower key. Not finding anything super important. It is another key item, puts you another item closer to 10, but other than that, I was gonna say that's a reset out of there.
Yeah, not even gonna keep that package, just gonna say I'm going home.
Gaming with the Wraith gonna get the Golbez objective knocked out of the way here. We're gonna be one away from getting a crystal. Getting that Fu as well. I wonder who we're gonna see ditched here. Ditching an Eddie. I mean, that's definitely not a bad choice here at this point, especially since they don't have the spoon.
Yeah, once that spoon gets found, though, that's probably when you're like, well, that's unfortunate. Now I don't have any way of using this. I guess it's free money, if anything else.
The turn in the pan here, gonna get an X-Cal, a Twin Harp, and a Zeus Gauntlet whenever they're all turned in. So we'll get another objective knocked out here soon by Plumeria. I'm really curious as to see where our moon axis is going to be at. I really want to say it's going to be at that Luca key. That's why I really like checking that Luca key to get it knocked out of the way instead of the key just kind of staring me in the face going, hey, check me.
I think it has to be Luca key or that D-Mist at this point, doesn't it? Because we know the music wasn't it. We know that this dwarf castle isn't it. I think those are the only two options left.
It could be locked behind a chain, like you could be locked behind Baron Key or Earth Crystal or something like that, but it will be behind one of them, yeah.
Which is a very, very interesting possibility that they might actually have to dive that hook route from the D-Mist if the Luca Key does not pay off when either of them goes for it.
Plumeria not having it yet is definitely kind of worrying me. I hope they don't forget about Baron Inn. It would be very unfortunate.
On the other hand, if they forget about Baron Inn and that Luca Key ends up turning up nothing, they go chase down that D-Mist they know is on the hook route, then that could be really beneficial to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It can benefit you to skip on something sometimes, and other times it can just bite you in the butt. Like we might be seeing the hook play.
Yeah, at very least going to go check that character, I think. Whether or not it'll go all the way is a bit more questionable to me, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I think with this crew, you kind of almost have to, having a Fu and a beefed up Sid. I don't know. I'd be really tempted to just go knock it out of the way and hope it was something good.
Well, if he does go this full hook route and does check that D-Mist, then we're about to see which one ends up granting either the moon access or the chain that leads to it, because Wraith is headed into that sealed cave.
I really love when races diverge like this, so we can kind of get an experience of, hey, one route may be faster, but Trout is going to get us where we need to go.
And you know, the big question on my mind is, does Plumeria go this whole way knowing that Cave Magnus is an objective and he has that harp now as well?
I think maybe kind of holding off at this point, maybe hoping for an Earth Crystal to land somewhere to make routing super easy and lead you all the way back to Baron. That's kind of one thing when I look at when I'm playing, like, how can I route my items best to where I don't have to kind of diverge everywhere?
Well, either once that Edwarder is going to go down the rest of this hook route.
I'd be really interested to see an Eddie take here over that Yang. Maybe even ditch Tella at this point, because you've got Fu. Fu's a pretty solid anchor. I really like Spoon Eddie at this point. That's a ton of damage. Oh yeah, that's right. He still needs a character. So never mind. We are getting an Eddie and a D-Mist check. I like this.
I like this pending knowing what's at that king and queen emblem spot, because I keep saying that something's got to give at some point in time, and this seed has got to get more difficult somewhere along the line, and I am worried that this king queen emblem spot might be it, but it is the darkness crystal at the bottom of the sealed cave, so this might not even be the play.
Luca Key always pays off. I don't know, just Luca Key has had so much recently from what I've watched, and even a free fight here too. Oh man. This is pretty interesting, because we could run into, say, the Legend Sword behind Demist. And that would be a crystal for Plumeria once Twin Harp is done and the Excal is forged. And all Plumeria would need to do is go to Baron Inn, get that Luca Key, and then head down here.
And that's a good point too, is that Plumeria already knows what is at the bottom of Fame March, has already done both of those fights, so we'll know that Baron Inn is the only option available left for that underground access.
Yep. Just watching Divergence and how people play this game is really fantastic. You see two different thought processes, and it just kind of takes you on an adventure.
Yeah, and it really does kind of just hinge on what is at this Demist spot, because Wraith could spend a ton of time chasing down what ends up being a longer way around on the moon, trying to find what would end up being the pink tail or whatever up there, when Plumeria would already have what it needs to win and know how to get to the, well, know the only option to get to the way there.
Alright, it's time to see who this boss at King Queen Emblem spot is. Pretty excited. An evil wall would be pretty funny. It'd be rough, but I think with this crew, you've kind of got to be set up right here. Vigen's pretty rude. Gonna be tough.
Vigen's pretty rude with a Fusoya that does not yet know Quake.
Yeah. This is pretty rude in general, yeah. But taking the body down is pretty sure they can survive the explodes from these arms. I think they only have like 400-ish HP. But
meanwhile, Wraith is about to head back down to the bottom of Fame March and about to get a whole lot of nothing, I think.
Speaking of Quake, if we just learned Quake.
I believe someone called for a very upsetting time to learn Quake on your Fusoya, and there it is when you just get what would have been really nice to have Quake.
Now, this fight might take just a little bit. It's got a ton of HP here, and we got to deal with the hard punches and the form changing after every 3 attacks. But this could pay off, or it could be nothing. I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, and a quick welcome to the Raiders from the last race over on the Randomania 1 channel. Very excited to have you here for what's turning out to be a pretty quick seed so far.
Ooh. Gaming with Wraith getting pretty unlucky there with a fast turn on Cecil. Maybe bumping the battle speed down a little bit would be a little bit better.
Yeah, quite unfortunate, but I think he's got it on this next attempt. Another good chance for Plumeria to catch up a little bit this time. You know, Wraith does have that one objective advantage, but we know that right now he's just ticking that clock down a little bit.
Looks like Game of Wraith gets through here. That no delay Tier 4 not being super beneficial against the super fast Dark Knight, but getting it prepped beforehand was definitely a little helpful there.
Meanwhile, the Steam Mist fight still ongoing. Gonna be ongoing for a little bit because just quite a bit of health to chip through with that slow turned into mist, not turned into mist. But the longer Wraith spends down here, the more time that, if this demist ends up being something good, would really, really make Plumeria's day.
Yeah, definitely. Game with Wraith being at eight key items though, that's looking pretty good for a moon trip once they decide to make it there. Because once you hit that 10 key items, you get double experience, and if you run into the right boss at the D lunar spot, you can just do your grind there. So I'm just really gonna depend on what happens.
Yeah, and it's weird because it feels like Wraith is ahead, because if you look at the raw numbers, Wraith is ahead, but at the same time, not really that far ahead.
Yeah, definitely. It's honestly still pretty close in general. I'd say Game of the Wraith has a couple checks on Plumeria here, but Plumeria having to do this demist check is definitely could possibly be very beneficial to what happens. Because if we find a Legend Sword or a Pink Tail, we know that the moon's haunted, because we know everything we need to been here on the planet.
Yeah, and Plumeria, on the other hand, does have all the knowledge. So does know that keyless tower play is not worthwhile, so really just has a straight shot forward, and you can imagine the second that he gets that darkness crystal, he's gonna be heading straight for the moon.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Meanwhile, for a quick moment, while both of our players are in fairly long fights, a good time to tell you all to take a quick moment and follow both of our racers on Twitch, as well as our restream team. Again, me and Couch on commentary here, as well as Daphis on the restream and Scythe Marshall on tracking, as well as if you're enjoying what you're watching, haven't tried it out yourself yet, make sure you drop by our Discord and give it a try yourself with our wonderful community, always willing to pitch in and help you learn the ropes.
Absolutely, this community is fantastic, and the shout outs to everybody who's been working their butts off on restreams and commentary, and it's just a really great community. And looks like we're through Demist. Gaming with Wraith getting that useless defense sword right now. We have nobody to use it. But getting through Demist, I'm getting pretty excited to see what item is here. An Earth Crystal into maybe a Cecil would be pretty interesting. That would definitely give a foot up over the competition. I'm wondering if Plumeria is going to go out backwards and not do the cutscene to get the Falcon with the drill.
Seems that way.
I wonder if it's actually faster or not. Because you got a lot of floors to go through to get back out.
I feel like that's something that someone has probably timed at some point, and I'm sure there's an answer to it, but I have no clue what it is.
We're going to see Wraith go to the moon here. We're going to get a character check and quite a few item checks as soon as we take out some of the bosses. I think like the most interesting person to see up there would be a Cecil with the items that we've gotten. Maybe another Eddie, maybe give Wraith a chance to reclaim that Eddie and use the spoon. But yeah, I'm pretty interested to see how this splits up.
Yeah, and what concerns me, I know I've sort of been a bit of a broken record about it this race, but what's left for bosses that could be on the moon? Because all that easy stuff pretty much gone already.
About the free ones we've got. Baron Guards is about the only free one that would be. Because we ran into the Kaipo Guards, we ran into Water Hack, Plague. You just ran into basically everything that's been free.
There's still quite a bit on the table that is at very least easier, though. I mean, we still haven't seen Mylon and Friends, if I'm remembering correctly. We still haven't seen Octomam anywhere, which is not the hardest fight in the world, so could be pretty good. Ooh, but Hourglass 2s in this shop is even better.
So we do have a Sirenless Seed. This is pretty good. I like seeing grinds without Siren. Definitely kind of changes how you got to think about your grind. And Plumeria is going to be getting that Luca key here soon. So hopefully as soon as they get it, they go check D-Mist, and then they go get their Darkness Crystal from the cave.
Yeah, you got to be thinking that those trapdoors are looking a lot more attractive now, because no sirens, you do not want to step foot in a giant, because then you have to finish it, and there's no benefit to finishing it. Not too many great grinds outside of that, but an edge? How are we feeling about that?
At this point, I take edge over Yang. I ditch Yang, and I keep that Sid, but that's just me. I would get rid of Yang. I've got swords for edge. I've got armor. I've got the Zeus gauntlets. I take edge over Yang at this point, but that's just my play. Ditching Sid is not bad. I would rather have Sid as an anchor choice than say Fu. I probably would have ditched Tella as well. But to each their own, right?
Yeah, I would have to think at this point he's probably planning on using like a Cursed Ring Tella as an anchor, and that might just be the long-term plan there.
So I think a Cave Bahamut check. This could be a pretty rude spot depending on who's here. Mom Bomb is exceptionally rude. We're going back to the planet. Maybe I'm gonna go after that D-Mist. But we're gonna see what that D-Mist is right now. It would be huge if it was something like Legend Sword. Waste of time.
Oh, and if Wraith is going for that, I feel like Plumeria has done all these checks that ended up being dead checks early on that Wraith is now slowly working his way through. So once they sort of converge back again, we know that that moon is required.
Oh, going Keyless Tower. Interesting. So we're going to see the Twin Harp check here on Plumeria, just to get the objective out of the way. Maybe, oh no, Gaming's going to go steal some Sirens. So this isn't technically a Siren. Let's see. We're going to have some Siren stealing here.
Siren, but you have to work for it, see?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a good play. Take out everybody in your party but Edge, so you can just get more and more sneaks off. Makes things nice and easy. Casting weak as well, so Edge can just take them out right away. Pretty good. At 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at 8 key items, I probably only steal like 10 or 11 Sirens here, and that's being on the bigger side. Once you hit 10, you can get like especially since we ran into Hourglass 2s on the moon, we can get 180k per Siren. We really don't need too many.
Yeah, that King Ryu grind definitely been pretty much everyone's favorite where they can in this tournament, so definitely going to see that again, especially where you have this team that probably could use a few extra levels on it. If you're going to keep that young, you probably want to get as high up as you can before you finish. You know, there's that sort of balancing act of how much experience do I have to put into this young to make him really, really good versus how much time is that going to take.
Yeah, absolutely. So looks like we're gonna have some more FF1 music. I don't know. I really like the randomized harp music. It's fantastic every time.
I'll be honest, it's my absolute favorite part of this randomizer, and being a huge FF1 nerd, I'm really looking forward to this encore, so I'm gonna be quiet and listen to it for a little.
Same. And just like that, Ruby's down. Easy peasy. The wonders of having nuke, right?
Yeah, and that's another interesting thing that just sort of sprung to mind watching how quickly that went down is Plumeria is going to be going through these checks that Wraith went through earlier a lot faster than he did.
Yeah, definitely. We're probably gonna actually. I don't know. I might walk this package out if I'm Wraith. That's 9 key items, and I'm about to go clear the moon. I almost walked this package out, to be honest.
Yeah, and with exit, it's basically just take a step and exit out. So
Can't exit out of this dungeon, unfortunately. You do have to walk it out.
I, for some reason, thought the package was on the other side and misremembered entirely. That was... Sorry.
No worries.
No, I get what you're saying now, yeah. Did that thing where you're looking at one side of things and you assume that everything that's being said is talking about that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I absolutely understand that one. We're gonna see Luca Key. We are. I am really excited. This is gonna make both of them really close together, especially if Wraith walks this out. Like I said, I love how these seeds can kind of diverge and then basically just come right back and meet in the middle. They're gonna be pretty dead even if Wraith ends up walking this package out.
Yeah, because you have to expect that both of them, once they're done with these checks, know that the moon is the only option left. So this is an actual side-by-side race, yeah.
Wraith won't know that because Wraith still hasn't done that demist.
That's an interesting question. Do you go for that demist before you go for the moon at this point?
If I'm Wraith, there's too many options out there to not go to the moon. And at this point, I'd probably go top down, look for that 10th, 8th, 9th, or 10th key item. It looks like they may be keeping that package. This is kind of almost a heads-up play. You know you have 9 key items. You only need one more. you know you still need to grind. You haven't found that edge yet because you haven't gone to the moon. Oh, wait, no, Wraith has gone to the moon. Sorry. See, I did what you just did.
Exactly. It's really easy to do, isn't it? And just really quickly answer a question from Danable Lecter in chat. What was music the steed? It was the Earth Cave music from Final Fantasy 1.
But yeah, I really like this play. Wraith more than likely going to go check Cave Bahamut since they landed there after before coming back here. I think they're going to go check Cave Bahamut and then maybe go bottom up on the subterranean. Yeah. At this point, I see too many options on the moon to go chase a D-Mist at the Ruby spot. It's a moon play for me.
Yeah, and I do suppose in his case, no matter what, one of those two things is going to be gated behind the moon. You don't know what's behind D-Mist. It's either going to be a waste of time or it's going to be the same as going to the moon anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Plumeria going to be very happy to see Water Tag here. Going to make this really quick. Seeing the Darkness Crystal kind of screams, hey, go to the moon. Plumeria has already basically full cleared what they could on the planet. Not getting that package, just resetting out of it. But yeah, this is a pretty decently fast seed, to be honest. It started off pretty quick, got all the free bosses out of the way pretty much. Kind of interested to see what boss is going to be here in Cave Bahamut. It could prove to be a hefty challenge, like maybe the Gauntlet or something. That'd be nice. Let's see the Gauntlet here.
That's another interesting question. You get to the point where you've cleared the entire moon and you have a choice between chase that D-Mist or do the alt Gauntlet, but it is CPU, so unfortunately we're not going to see that choice.
CPU, kind of an easy choice here. I mean, you've got an Edge and a Yang. You may as well just kind of zerk them and I don't know. Maybe they're going to try and go for float strats here. That'd be pretty interesting. And Pepita, yes, I assume you probably could orb grind here. Might be a little rough.
I think at this point, you don't orb grind in Wraith's case specifically just because you already stole all those sirens. You might as well just use that. Yeah. It might still be quicker.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if float hits that defender or attacker. It's a defender. That's not the good target.
No, right, but so at least take number 2 is going to happen.
So this is kind of a strat that was developed a few years ago. What happens is float is reflectable, and if you get float to go on the attacker, you can just cast Quake all day. But unfortunately, it hits CPU there. So we kind of have to reset if we're going to go Quake strats. So it's like we may take a few different stabs at this one. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a bit worrying because he doesn't know it, but every time he takes a stab at this with that Quake strat, he does not get the RNG he needs. That's a little bit closer to Plumeria is, and Plumeria is on his way to the moon.
Yep, right on the heels. I wonder if we'll see Plumeria come back and steal some sirens. I personally wouldn't at this point, knowing what I have and knowing that I can get more than likely 2 really quick key items on the moon. I would probably just start in the subterranean and kind of leave Cave Bahamut alone. You can just get faster checks there. I don't know. It's the joys of watching races. Like you get to see everybody else's thought process versus your own.
Yeah, you take number 2 on float strats. The first one does land on defender, and the second one also landing on defender. Attempt number 3 time.
Pretty funny if the third one landed on defender as well. Hey, look at that. So it looks like we got a Quake strat ready to go. So for this strat, all we have to do is just keep casting Quake with both Palom and Fu, and then just keep up healing, more than likely with Tella, or just toss potions. They need to get that defender knocked out of the way though, otherwise it's gonna cause some issues.
Yeah, chipping away at it with Edge and Yang not going very fast right now.
I actually didn't see if Wraith has any ethers, because that could kind of be a choke point here. See how low their MP ends up being, but I guess they could steal some from Edge if need be. Edge and Tella.
I think he might have a couple of Ether 2s left at this point, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't remember seeing the Elixir get burned. I did see them throw the Cure 3 during the Dark Knight Cecil fight, so I think they still have the Elixir. Might be wrong on that.
Yeah, they had definitely used the Cure 3 for their item heal on the Dark Knight Cecil fight, so I think you're right on that.
I'd probably almost throw the spoon with Edge at the CPU in this fight, just to kind of save on MP. I do know they have cabins, and I have a really bad habit of coming up here without cabins and needing to reserve my MP as much as I can. Look at all the swords that they get to throw. Dang.
I mean, I've had the experience too of the seed that just does not have cabins for sale anywhere that I found, because I was adamant I wasn't going to go to a couple different towns because it seemed out of the way, and then regretted it later, so...
I like that play on Plumeria's side. Gonna have a heavy Zerg party. Sid, Edge, Eddie, Yang with a Fu. Man, I like Plumeria's play here. I really like Zerg parties. I think they can do a ton of damage. And I'm hoping to see a top-down play here. I've always kind of loved the top-down play, and I'm kind of glad it's becoming the meta here. But
yeah, it's really interesting to see the differences here. It does appear like he's going to go from bottom up.
I mean, overall, key item-wise, it's probably the smarter play. I kind of look at it as more of like a grind option, whereas, hey, I'm close to key item-wise. If I have one or two, I'll probably make stops before I do that deep move spot. Just kind of keeping that stuff in mind. I kind of like to prepare a little bit mentally for my grind, especially if I don't have sirens available.
I can also see it a bit on Plumeria's side too, where Plumeria did not walk that package out. So in this case, you get through that ribbon room if it happens to pay off with 2 key items. There's your 10 right there with only 1 fight.
Yeah, definitely. Wraith getting through the CPU fight. Let's see what item we get. Pink Tail would be go mode. Legend Sword would be go mode. Anything else, we gotta dig deeper. Hey, that's not bad. In case we have to go back and forge. I mean, we have to go back and do either one anyway, so that pass is going to be a little bit beneficial. Because Plumeria is more than likely going to find one of the go mode items down in the subterranean here. Plumeria will have to do that walk all the way back down.
An extremely good consolation prize.
So that's pretty interesting find. I'm wondering if we're going to see top down here from Wraith or not.
I feel like in his case it's a bit smarter because you really just need that one item. You might as well go for what's the quickest single key item I can get, especially where he has those sirens, can get the level grind out of the way if he wants to do that. Once he gets to the lower checks, it might work out a bit better for him.
I don't know. I just really like top down. No, everybody always avoids that pale dim spot, and it's kind of like, yeah, I'll do it. It's not a hard spot, depending on who you run into. Actually, I don't think really too many bosses are that bad there. Val can be pretty rude there. I mean, but at the time you're at the moon anyways, you've got a decent set of levels and a decent party, usually.
I think that's the main question on my mind right now. Isn't even necessarily what checks pay off. It's how much faster could Plumeria's party be? Because I do feel like Plumeria's setup is a little bit better.
I'm kind of with you on that one. Wraith is kind of not really hurting damage-wise, and this is a fantastic set of bosses to find in this spot. You can grind on the Baron Guards here, just stop them, and then you can kill them with coffins or fatal, and then life to them, and stop them again, and it's just, you can get a ton of experience here. I did a seed where I had, this is where I did my grind, and I got like 600,000 experience from this fight. You can get a ton.
Yeah, Pierce Plumeria is not going to be going for that. It does take a reset because Edge falling over to that attack, probably the absolute worst target in his party for that, aside from maybe the Edward.
Yeah, definitely. We see Mom Bomb. Mom Bomb, kind of scary. On the moon, usually you don't have to worry about the split because you're just pumping out so much damage that you don't have to worry about the split and explosion. Can be very brutal physical. Let's see what we get from on Plumeria's side.
Yeah, I think that Mom Bomb would scare me more if I was Plumeria, not so much with Wraith's side where he has the two different people who can cast Blink in addition to the illusions.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, there it is. There's that go mode. And 10 key items. I think you go back to Earth, go get your crystal, go grind, steal some sirens first, and then fortunately Plumeria is going to miss out on that pass. Gonna have to hoof it.
I think that's what it's going to come down to is Plumeria far enough ahead of Wraith that pass does not matter?
Yeah, definitely. It also depends on what Wraith plays. Does Wraith go right to the D-Lunar spot? Does Wraith continue to search? Also, they both need to grind as well. Ooh, looks like Plumeria is going to continue to look for stuff. Maybe just hoping for... I don't even know what at this point.
Could be hoping for that pass.
Could be. Kind of at this point, I'm like, I mean, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you go turn in, that'll still be over 10. Like, at this point, I'm kind of at the point where I'm going to go, hey, I need to go grind, I need to go and just get done. I still have a feeling it's going to be a really close race no matter what happens.
Well, we're about to see if this Mom Bomb spot has a Legend Sword. Unfortunately, the wrong kind of sword.
That's a spicy crystal sword. Unfortunately, no Cecil. You know, I've kind of noticed that if you get an early Avenger, you may as well just forget about Cecil or Kane.
I mean, he was probably asking for a legendary sword at that point. Just the wrong one.
I think Wraith may have a little bit more struggle with the Zeromus fight overall, because I mean, Plumeria can go quad Zerk here and just heal up with Fu and let the physical party go, whereas Wraith is probably gonna have to do a hybrid or just go pure reflect and heal up with Edge and Yang.
Yeah, but I think what's interesting to me is looking at that Mom Bomb fight where Wraith got through with 5 health left on his Edge, had him split after the explode, and Plumeria taking it down before the explode even goes off. So that's kind of showing the big disparity there right now.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like we have an exit cast on Plumeria's side. I think we're gonna see Plumeria head back. Maybe do doors and not worry about trying to steal sirens. Doors seems like the better play almost at this point instead of trying to steal, because you got to take the time to steal the sirens. I think we might see doors, but this is close. They're both hitting basically go mode at the same time. Yeah. Maybe gonna see Wraith cast exit here and go back. They got sirens. Maybe they're gonna grind on the gold dragons. That might be what's gonna happen here. I think that's what we're gonna see: a gold dragon grind and then head back.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like he is walking up to that right now. Plumeria's side still a lot more interesting at this point, just because we pretty much know what Wraith's going to do. He has the sirens. We don't really know what Plumeria is going to do yet. I definitely agree that I would probably go for the doors myself at this point.
Yeah, doors definitely seem like the best option for Plumeria instead of taking time to steal the sirens. Although you do have to take the time to actually go underground or go through the dungeon to find those doors.
Yeah, I think the other question to me too is, does Plumeria have a much smaller grind ahead of him no matter what? Because if Wraith is going to go grind that Palom up to Nuke, and Plumeria is only really aiming for, enough to get through the Z fight with his Berserker squad, that might actually play to Plumeria's advantage.
Wraith doing double lives on the King Ryus, so Wraith's going to get like 270,000 experience from this fight. That is amazing. Would
you like another Excalibur for your pink tail?
Plumeria here, mid-30s. Are they gonna? Where?
They're parked like they're going for
for the pass, but maybe they're thinking they don't have the pass. Do you want to double check and prep it? That's what it seems like. Gonna find out really soon that we don't have a pass.
Well, unfortunate, but this does sort of play his hand a little bit that he's not going to go for a grind. He's just going to go straight there.
Yeah, definitely. I don't mind this play. It's not bad. I am very uncomfortable with mid-30s Zeromus fights, but having quad Zerkers, I guess, wouldn't be too bad. I don't know. I am very uncomfortable with mid-30s fights. I am not the most technical when it comes to Z-Fight. I just kind of let the game do its own thing. But yeah, I think we're just going to see Plumeria head back and go right to Zeromus. So this could give Wraith a chance to catch up, or Plumeria Knight could just get through without any issues and take the W. But this is going to be exceptionally close. I love it when races are like this.
The concern for me looking at it is that Edge at 1466 and that Edward at like 600 HP. Edward is definitely not living through a big bang no matter what. Edge might not unless he is perfect on his nerfs for it. So that's a concern.
Definitely looks like we're going to have a Sid anchor here. Just making sure everything's prepped. Edward's going to probably be putting out the most damage here. But yeah, this is definitely interesting. I'm pretty excited to see how this is going to play, because Gaming is going to go get their crystal and then go to the Z fight, because they've already done their grinding. And yeah, this is exciting. They're going to be pretty toe to toe.
Yeah, you have to think they might actually just be getting into the Z fight at basically the same time.
I think Wraith is misremembering that they don't have the Legend Sword and they got the pink tail. Yeah, I have done this before as well. It happens. I mean, we did see Plumeria go to turn in the past that they didn't have as well.
You know, 1 for mistakes there. It happens.
Plumeria doing a small grind here. I like it. Just to grab some more experience. This isn't a bad floor to run into some enemies and take some more stuff. Eddie hiding is pretty good. Got those hourglasses. I like this play. And then Yang gets smacked. Oh man, good stuff. The good news is gaming has a ton of stuff that Edge can just toss at Zeromus, and buying a ton of Bacchus wines as well. Gonna make the Z fight not too bad. Gonna get another X-Cal from turning in his pink tail as well.
Yep, it's definitely got plenty to throw, and without having that, Edward also has that spoon still available too for that free 10k.
It's definitely really easy to mix up your items, especially in a race where it's one-on-one, nerves are setting in, you know you're in go mode, and you know that your opponent more than likely is in go mode as well. It kind of makes you forget things, to be honest.
And that's an interesting, mental note for me too, from my admittedly much more limited than yours experience in these sorts of races, is when you see a seed this fast, you really have to be thinking, oh no, this seed was very fast indeed, and if I wasn't just that little bit faster, I'm in trouble, even though it's really pretty early on.
Now we get to ask an important question. Whose butt are we going to kick tonight? I see Z flags. Are we all tired?
I mean, a little bit, but I don't really think that's what those are for in this case.
I'm pretty tired.
There's not too much you can randomize about Zeromus. He's always going to be the hardest fight in the game, no matter where you put him. You could put him on the moon anywhere, he's still going to be a problem. So that does lead to those Z flags. So we're about to find out which of those 525 at last count I knew, although it might be 526 since yesterday, if I am correct in assuming that, we're going to see tonight.
Yeah, I've seen so many, and there's still so many I haven't seen. Always amazed at the outstanding work that Scala does. My favorite happens to be Eve Miss from Parasite Eve. I just love that game. It's so great.
I am still a very, very large fan of hummus, which is just a large bowl of hummus.
That's a pretty solid one. I don't think I've actually seen that one.
It was in a race a couple months ago. I don't remember. It was one of the community races, I think, and I believe I was tracking on that one, and I just am glad I was not in something where I had to talk, because I just broke out laughing horribly the whole time through.
Looks like Plumeria might be ready to go take on Z here. This is gonna be close.
Yeah, Plumeria is a little bit behind, but is that Berserker party going to be faster enough for it?
Ooh, what a great spray. I love this one.
big fan of Ghostmas, you know. They look just so adorable floating in this little tiny void by themselves. They seem like they're having a good time, and really, I almost feel bad that we're gonna have to take them down here.
All right, chat. Who is your favorite ghost? Mine's Clyde.
I'm a big Blinky fan, personally. I don't actually know which one is which, but I'm just gonna say that anyways. Although I do have a pretty good hunch as to which one Pinky is.
If I remember right, Clyde is the yellow one, and that's the only one I know. It's been forever since I remember.
So, this Z fight really isn't going to pose too much of a problem for either player. I think this Big Bang should take down the Tella on Wraith's side, and really, it's just going to be a matter of grinding this down a little bit. Nukes going off, reflected off of the Palom, going to be doing a lot. Same with the Fusoya. The Fusoya can handle any healing necessary, so I think this is going to be going pretty quick here once he really gets into that rhythm.
Yeah, definitely. This is an extremely close finish. I couldn't ask for a better race to commentate, to be honest. This has been fantastic. Watching Rap Divergence, then come back together on the moon, both get go mode around the same time. It's been really fun.
Yeah, really, it was just those two different ways around Earth that, to me, sort of made the difference here. Wraith taking that more direct, do your freebies, do your objectives route. Plumeria doing completely the opposite. Don't do your freebies, don't do your objectives, go find something else. And then they both end up here at roughly the same time.
Definitely. And I do want to say it's been great commentating with you. So thank you. I do want to say thank you to our tracker. Thank you to the Restream crew, Dothis for doing the Restream, Scythe for doing tracking, and just everybody in general. Y'all are fantastic.
Yep, and this has definitely been a very fantastic race to be enjoying with y'all tonight. And if you've been enjoying this one, there is another one coming up very shortly after this one as well. So, got to keep up the whole night long here with Free Enterprise.
Free Enterprise 24/7. I'm down.
Give it another couple years, I'm sure we'll be there.
We got falling rocks on Wraith's side. Let's go.
Does appear to be a little bit ahead. I'm not sure how much further behind Plumeria is going to be at this point, though.
Yeah, definitely. And looks like we got a finish over on Gaming with Awraith's side of 135, 35-ish, somewhere around there. GG's. And I believe we'll be getting them in soon.
Hi everyone! It's Admin Scalakitty here to do and say admin things. So as you all have noticed, there definitely has been some lagging happening on plumeriaknight's side. Basically, according to RaceSpot and according to what plumeriaknight has on the timer going on his direct feed, it looks like there is like a time shift difference that is wide enough that we have to go back and review the footage, since RaceSpot indicates that plumeriaknight came in at 129.23. So, for the purposes of this race, we're just kind of letting everyone know the admin are going to go ahead, take our time, look back over everything. So this race is basically like under review. So we're just letting everyone know because we knew that when the finishes came up on screen, it was going to not tell the whole story. So I really do want to thank everyone for understanding. We're going to do our best to make sure that this is treated, carefully and fairly. And just thank you all for understanding that so much.
Yeah, definitely. Like, lag can definitely throw streams really far behind, and it can absolutely change the visual outcome of a race. So I almost kind of like it when races end with an indeterminate winner. Kind of like, oh, more excitement to come.
And I think really no matter what the final review shows on this too, this was an extremely well-run race on both sides. It was really exciting to watch the entire time through. Saw that bit of divergence early on. They came back together, weren't sure who was ahead, weren't sure who was behind the whole time. So it's almost a bit fitting in that way that gonna have that little bit of uncertainty for a bit, but no matter what, both of our runners did an absolutely amazing job with this seed.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, they played fantastic, and it was a blast to watch. And like I said, I enjoyed the rep divergence. Just everything is fantastic. So I can tell you, I wouldn't have played like either one of them did.
So let's. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna leave it back over to our wonderful commentary team, who've been doing an excellent job this entire time, and sort of go back into admin mode. More than likely, we will post a official announcement about this particular race once there's been a proper full review. So yes, watch in the Discord. Once the final results are worked out, they will also then be posted to the official Lali-Ho League website. So thank you all, and I'll let you all get to your interviews.
Okay. Do we just? I mean, it's like Maria and both Wraith are ready to go. If we would like to get them moved.
Joining us is one of our fantastic runners tonight. Well, both of our fantastic runners tonight, Gaming with a Wraith and plumeriaknight. First of all, GG's to both of you on an extremely well-run seed on both of your sides.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, you both played fantastic. You both went completely different ways. You both ended up at the same place at the same time pretty much at the end, and it was great to watch.
Yeah, it seems like it was really close. I just want to take a second to say I'm really sorry about my stream issues. I really enjoy this community, and I know it's not really fair to everyone that when whatever my OBS is doing to my Twitch just isn't working right, and I apologize for that.
This isn't even the first time this exact situation has happened with me commentating a race in the past few weeks. So these sorts of things happen, it's beyond your control sometimes. Anytime we're running a live event like this, you're gonna run into some issues, and you gave us definitely a good enough show that I don't think anyone's going to be upset with what they saw tonight.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think you don't have anything to worry about. It's unfortunate things happen, and it's just kind of the way it is. I think it's still did fantastic, and it was a great race to watch.
Great. I'm glad it didn't spoil the race.
So getting into the sort of big questions here, what I want to ask both of you, since we have both of you here for this interview, was the route differences that we saw early on between the two of you. I believe, Wraith, you faded that Fabul check as long as you could. You then went through all of those freebies, everything you could, freebies, objectives, get all that stuff done. Plumeria, on the other hand, did that Fabul check early, and then it seemed like you went through every single check that was not one of those freebies or that objective, and it was actually really exciting to watch because it ended up funneling you two back together at the same point in time. So I would ask, what was your thought process going to that, starting over on Wraith's side?
As soon as we got the pan to start, I'm like, if my underground access is not until I get magma key or hook, I'm not touching Fabul. I mean, like, if Fabul isn't holding them, I'm just going. So, I like personally, I like to just try to do it all as one big chunk, especially when I get the pan, just to save a little extra dip time.
And Plumeria, if you want to give us a quick walkthrough on your routing choices there.
Yeah, so basically, I wanted to fill out my party a little bit, but I wasn't super interested in that Palom, so I faded Baron in for a bit, and I went Dwarf Castle, and I got that Foo, so I figured, well, I may as well check Baymarch first, just to see if it's doable, because my party composition, it probably isn't going to change too much, and if it does, well, then I can go back. And so I just kind of tried to do everything kind of as efficiently as possible, tried to stay underground for as long as possible. So that was my thought process there.
Now, the next question to me at least would be the demist at the hook route check, because Wraith, you did not go for it at all, because, I mean, at the point where you were, it's understandable. Plumeria did plunge into that hook route, so I want to know sort of that thought process of why you did and did not go for those at that point in time. And we'll give that one over to Wraith first here.
To me, it was just, it's like, do I really want to gamble 2 bosses? And it's like, no, not really. I mean, there could be something there, but I'm willing to throw dice on a one out of or 2 out of in case the boss is there.
All right, and
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I was looking for that character, and you know, I saw that Edward. Wasn't super interested, but I did have the spoon, so I figured, well, let's pick him up. And then I'm here. There's not going to be a better opportunity to go check this demist. I better do it now. So it was just kind of my trying to be as efficient as possible, not double dip anything.
I think both of you both made the right decision on it, and you both did different choices. What do you feel was your best play of the seed? I think we'll throw it to Plumeria first.
I think checking that Dark Knight when I did, just getting through it, even though it was not a useful check.
You executed it pretty well. It was pretty good to watch.
I'm not really sure what I'll say. Like, my best, I just kind of went with the flow, and I know the strategy for pretty much any boss wherever it goes. So it's like, just go and do what I'm supposed to do. The CPU the second time was right. The first time when I reset out of it because of the float missing, the front guy was kind of sad, but what do you do on that?
Yeah. I definitely enjoy watching people do the Quake strats on CPU. It's one that's kind of RNG based, but when it goes right, it looks really great.
Yeah, and at that point I was just looking for 10th key items, so it's like, I'm just do this. There's no reason not to do it. But I felt like the reason I reset was because I knew I didn't have enough damage without doing that, because Edge and Yang were hitting like they were swinging pool noodles at everything.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, the first one I'm resetting. If I don't get it the second time, I was just gonna dip out and just go right underground. So I got the float after I guess that was the third cast.
Yeah.
The first one hit bottom, second one hit bottom, third one hit top. Yeah, third cast.
I honestly don't have any other questions. It was a blast to watch. What about you, Enth?
No, that was about it for me too. And just again, GG's on probably one of the absolute best races I've watched of this in a long time.
Well, thank you. It was fun. Thanks for the race, Plume. Was good time.
Yeah, GG Wraith, and thanks for the restream. Thank you, Deathus. Thanks for the vanilla, and then thanks Scythe Marshall for tracking.
Thanks to everyone for doing everything you're doing with this.
Well, GG's to both of our runners, Gaming with the Wraith and plumeriaknight, for a very, very good run tonight. That's gonna be pretty much wrapping up for us tonight. Couch, did you have much more to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks again to the community. Thanks to the restreamer, Dathis. Thanks to my co-commentator, Nth. Thanks to our tracker, Scythe. Thanks to the FE community. And just rocking it, y'all. Y'all are great.
Yeah, I adore this community so much. Y'all are so incredibly friendly and kind, and it's really wonderful to see. So thank you to every one of you who makes this community special. And for those of you who want more free enterprise coming up tonight, in about half an hour, we're going to have another race on this channel between Tybalt and Frankie Bones. Meanwhile, I think we're going to be tossing it over to Apex Corvid's stream for a little bit of a break in between these two races. So hope you all will follow us over there, spread the love to them, and thank you for coming along tonight, and good night, everyone.